You're watching Dark Terror Files, where the stories aren't just told, they linger. Where are you listening from? Alone in your room, driving through the dark. Drop a comment. I want to know who's out there. I'm hunched over the steering wheel, the cruiser's heater wheezing like it's got 1 foot in the grave. It's 1:47 a.m., and Crescent Valley is dead quiet. The kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. Snow's falling steady, fat flakes sticking to the windshield before the wipers scrape them off. I'm halfway through my thermos of black coffee, bitter as regret, trying to stay awake on this god-forsaken night shift. The Bitterroot Mountains loom out there in the dark, their jagged shapes swallowed by the blizzard. I'm Kyle Mercer, Deputy Sheriff, 37 years old, and I've been pulling nights in this town for too long. Crescent Valley, Montana, population 1, 200 give or take a few drifters, ain't exactly a hot spot. Most nights, it's just me, the cruiser, and the radio, looping the same staticky country tunes from KZMT out of Missoula. Tonight feels different, though. The air's heavier, like the cold's pressing down on purpose. I'm idling at the edge of town, near the old logging road. When the radio crackles, not the usual hum of static, something sharper, like a needle scratching vinyl. A voice cuts through, low and gravelly, like it's been chain-smoking camels since the Reagan administration. Unit 8. Respond to Holloway and Maine. My hand freezes on the thermos. Holloway and Maine. That intersection doesn't exist. Not anymore. The old part of town burned down in '87, along with the original sheriff's station. Everyone knows that. I know that. I lean forward, squinting at the radio like it's playing tricks. The voice comes again, slower this time, each word deliberate. Unit 8. Respond to Holloway and Maine. Over. I grab the mic, my thumb hovering over the talk button. Dispatch. This is Unit 8. Confirm location. Holloway and Maine's not on the grid. Silence. Just the hiss of static, like the radio's holding its breath. I wait, counting seconds. 10, 20, nothing. My breath fogs the side window, and I wipe it with my sleeve, peering out into the snow. That's when I see them tire tracks, fresh ones, cutting through the powder. They start right at the edge of the road and snake off toward the pines. Where the old station used to be, I shouldn't follow them. Every instinct screams to stay put, log the call, and move on. But I'm a deputy, and deputies don't ignore calls, even the weird ones. I shift the cruiser into gear, the engine grumbling as I roll forward. The tracks are deep, too deep for a car that hasn't passed me all night. They lead into the forest, where the snow's untouched except for that single, impossible line. I flick on the high beams, and the light catches something, a glint of metal. Maybe, or just the snow playing tricks. My pulse ticks up, a steady drumbeat in my ears. I tell myself it's nothing, just some kids messing around. But my hand drifts to the holster on my belt. The radio stays quiet, but I can't shake the feeling that something's out there, waiting. Back at the station, I try to shake off the call. The new sheriff's office is a squat, ugly building. All fluorescent lights and linoleum floors, built in '90 after the old one went up in flames. It smells like stale coffee and copier toner, with a faint whiff of pine from the air freshener Janet. The day shift dispatcher insists on using I'm alone tonight, like most nights, which suits me fine. People get chatty, and I'm not here to make friends. My routine's simple. Patrol the main drag, check the locks at the gas station, maybe swing by the diner to make sure Ellie, the waitress, hasn't fallen asleep at the counter again. Crescent Valley's the kind of place where nothing happens. And when it does, it's usually a flat tire or a drunk stumbling out of McGinty's bar. I like it that way. Predictable. Safe. After what happened 5 years ago in Missoula, Tommy bleeding out on the bank's marble floor. His eyes locked on mine as the life drained out of him. I don't do surprises anymore. I log the Holloway and Maine call as a glitch, but my pen hovers over the page. The old station fire's a local legend, the kind of story folks tell over beers at the VFW hall. They say it started in the basement, burned so hot it melted steel. 3 deputies died, and the town sealed the records tighter than a bank vault. Kids around here dare each other to sneak out to the ruins, claiming they hear voices or see lights in the woods. I've always laughed it off. Ghost stories are for tourists and teenagers, not grown men with badges. But those tire tracks, they're nagging at me. I grab my coat and head back out, the cold slapping my face like a warning. The cruiser's still warm, and I drive slow, scanning the streets. Main Street's empty, the neon sign at the diner flickering like it's on its last legs. I pull over near the library, where old Mrs. Carter's mailbox is buried in snow again. I grab the shovel from the trunk and clear it out. The scrape of metal on ice louder than it should be. She'll thank me tomorrow. Probably bake me those oatmeal cookies I pretend to like. Back in the cruiser, I sip the last of my coffee. Now cold and gritty, the radio's quiet. But I keep glancing at it, half expecting that voice to come back. I think about Tommy, how he used to hum Merle Haggard tunes on slow nights like this. I can still hear him sometimes, in the wind or the creak of the cruiser's frame. PTSD. The shrink called it unresolved trauma, she said. Like that explains why I wake up some nights with his voice in my head, begging me not to leave him. I shake it off and turn onto Route 93, the main road out of town. The snow's coming down harder now, and the pines are just shadows beyond the headlights. I tell myself I'm imagining things, that the call was just a crossed signal, maybe some trucker on a CB band. But deep down, I know better. Something's wrong in Crescent Valley tonight, and those tracks in the snow are calling me back. It's 2:13 a.m., and the radio's gone haywire again. I'm parked on the shoulder of Route 93, the cruiser's engine ticking as it cools in the Montana cold. The snow's piling up, a white curtain beyond the headlights, and I'm gripping the steering wheel like it's the only thing keeping me tethered to reality. The radio's been quiet since that Holloway and Maine call, but now it's buzzing, a low drone like a swarm of wasps trapped in a tin can. I stare at the dashboard, waiting for it to stop, but it doesn't. Instead, a voice cuts through, sharp and familiar, like a knife sliding between my ribs. "Kyle, you there? It's Tommy, my partner, dead 5 years." His voice as clear as the day we chased down that bank job in Missoula. I can still see him, slumped against the vault, blood pooling under his vest, his eyes begging me to stay. I shake my head, hard, like I can dislodge the sound from my skull. "Not real," I mutter, my breath fogging the air. "Just a glitch." I jab the mute button, but the static flares louder, and Tommy's voice comes again. "Kyle, Come on, man, answer me. It's not just the words, it's the way he says them. That half-cocky drawl he used when we'd kill time on slow patrols, sharing smokes and bad jokes. My hands are shaking now. Bad enough that I drop the mic. It dangles from its cord. Swinging like a pendulum, I snatch it up. Thumb on the talk button. Dispatch. This is Unit 8. Who's on this channel? My voice sounds thin, like it's coming from someone else. No answer. Just static. And then, soft as a whisper. Don't make me wait, Kyle. I slam the mic down and kill the radio entirely, yanking the power knob until it clicks. Silence. Blessed, heavy silence. But my pulse is hammering, and the back of my neck prickles like someone standing right behind me. I check the rearview mirror, nothing but snow and the empty road. I tell myself it's the PTSD. Like the shrink said, stress, exhaustion, my brain playing tricks. But deep down, I know it's not. I glance at the dashboard clock. 2:14 a.m. The radio's off, but I swear I still hear static, faint, like it's coming from inside my head. I need to move, to do something, anything, to shake this off. Those tire tracks from earlier are still out there, waiting in the snow. I shift the cruiser into gear, my jaw tight. Whatever's going on, I'm not letting it win. The cruiser's tires crunch through the snow as I follow those tracks off Route 93 into the black wall of pines. The high beams cut through the blizzard, but the light feels thin, like it's being swallowed by the forest. The tracks are still fresh, impossibly so, like someone drove through here minutes ago, but I haven't seen another car all night. And Crescent Valley doesn't get visitors this late. Not in a storm like this. I keep one hand on the wheel, the other resting on my holster. The Glock's a comfort, even if I don't know what I'm up against. The tracks veer left, deeper into the woods, where the old sheriff's station used to stand before it burned. I've been out here before, on dares as a kid, sneaking through the ruins with a flashlight and a six-pack of stolen Coors. Back then, it was just a creepy pile of bricks. Now, it feels like the forest itself is watching me. The tracks stop at a clearing, and I ease the cruiser to a halt. My breath catches as the headlights catch a shape, a rusted radio tower, half collapsed. Its cables tangled like veins in the frozen ground. They're not just lying there, they're pulled taut, disappearing into the snow like something dragged them underground. I grab my mag light, the beam slicing through the dark, and step out. The cold hits like a fist, stinging my face, but I barely feel it. I follow the tracks on foot now, boots sinking into the powder. The tower's base is littered with debris, rotted wood, chunks of concrete, and something else, glinting in the snow. A badge, old and tarnished, with the old Crescent Valley Sheriff's Department seal. My stomach twists. I shove it in my pocket, telling myself I'll check it later. Then I see it a flicker in the trees. Too tall to be human, too still to be alive. My flashlight swings toward it, but the beam catches nothing but branches. Who's there? I call, my voice swallowed by the wind. No answer, just the creak of pines and the soft hiss of snow. I take another step, and my boot hits something hard, a metal grate, buried under the powder. It's warm to the touch, which is wrong, all wrong. In this kind of cold, I kneel, brushing snow away, and find a rusted hatch the kind you'd see on a bunker. The cables from the tower snake toward it, disappearing into the dark below. My heart's pounding now, a dull roar in my ears. I should call this in. Get back up. But who's gonna come? I'm the only one on shift. I grip the hatch's handle, the metal biting into my palm, and hesitate. Whatever's down there, it's tied to that call, to Tommy's voice, to those tracks that shouldn't be here. I pull the hatch open, and the darkness below stares back. I'm back in town by 3:30 a.m. The cruiser's tires skidding on the icy roads. That hatch in the woods is burned into my mind. It's warm metal, and those cables snaking into the dark. I didn't go down there, not yet. Call it cowardice or common sense, but I'm not stupid enough to crawl into a hole alone with no backup. My hands are still shaking as I pull into the town hall lot, the only vehicle in a sea of untouched snow. The building's a relic, all brick and peeling paint, the kind of place that looks like it's been forgotten since Nixon was in office. Inside, the air's thick with the smell of mildew and old paper. The basement door's locked, but I've got a master key perks of the badge. The stairs creak under my boots, and the fluorescent lights flicker like they're on their last legs. Down here, it's just me and rows of file cabinets, stuffed with Crescent Valley's secrets. I'm looking for something, anything, to explain that call, those tracks, that damn hatch. I start with the newspaper archives, yellowed stacks of the Crescent Valley Gazette from the 80s. My flashlight dances over headlines about logging strikes and county fairs until I find it. October 17th, 1987. 3 deputies lost in station fire, cause unknown. The article's short, too short, like someone didn't want to dwell on it. It says the fire started in the basement of the old sheriff's station, burned so hot it melted steel. No survivors. Case closed. But there's a photo, grainy and faded, stapled to the clipping. 3 deputies in old wool uniforms, standing in front of the station. The one on the left stops me cold. Same jawline, same eyes, same tired slump in the shoulders. It's like looking in a mirror, except the name tag reads J. Mercer. My dad never mentioned any family in law enforcement, but Crescent Valley's small, too small for coincidences. I dig deeper, pulling files labeled incident reports. 1987. Half the pages are missing, torn out clean, like someone didn't want them read. What's left is cryptic, mentions of unidentified equipment in the basement, unexplained radio interference, and a single line that makes my skin crawl. Subject detained, non-responsive, transfer aborted. No names, no details, just a handwritten note in the margin. Don't let it call again. I shove the files back, my heart pounding. The basement feels smaller now, the shadows thicker. I swear I hear static, faint, like a radio left on in another room. I need answers, and I know who might have them, Donna. The last dispatcher from the old station. She's still alive, barely, in the nursing home on Pine Street. The Crescent Valley nursing home smells like antiseptic and regret. The kind of place where time slows down and hope goes to die. It's just past 4:00 a.m. when I walk in, my boots leaving wet prints on the linoleum. The night nurse, a tired woman named Marla, doesn't ask questions, just points me to room 12, where Donna's been wasting away for years. Donna's propped up in bed, a frail shadow of the woman who used to run the old station's radio like a drill sergeant. Her hair's thin, white as the snow outside, and her hands tremble as she clutches a rosary. The room's dim, lit by a single lamp that casts long shadows across the walls. I pull up a chair, the plastic creaking under me, and try to keep my voice steady. "Donna, I need to talk about the old station." Her eyes, cloudy but sharp, lock onto mine. "You heard it, didn't you?" she says, her voice a rasp. "The call." I nod, my throat tight. "Holloway and Maine, 2:13 a.m. And Tommy's voice. She doesn't flinch, just grips the rosary tighter. "They never left. Kyle, the old station's still active. Those boys, Jimmy, Hank, and your kin, John Mercer, they're still down there, working their shift. Every night, they call, looking for someone to take their place." My blood runs cold. John Mercer, the man in the photo, my kin. "You're saying he was family, your great uncle," she says. "Never told you. Did he? Your dad didn't want you wearing a badge. Not after what happened. But you're here now, and they know it." "Who's they?" I lean forward, my voice sharper than I mean it to be. She glances at the window, where the snow's piling up against the glass. "The ones in the basement. The thing they locked up before the fire. It's still there. Kyle. It calls through the radio. Uses their voices. Used Tommy's. Didn't it?" I want to laugh, to tell her she's lost it. But the badge in my pocket feels heavy, and that hatch in the woods is still waiting. "How do I stop it?" I ask. Her laugh is brittle, like breaking glass. "You don't. I tried for years. Quit the job, moved away. But I still hear it every night at 2:13. You're a Mercer. It's got you now." I stand, my chair scraping the floor. The room feels too small, the air too thick. Outside, the snow's falling harder, and I swear I hear static again. Faint, like it's following me. I'm back in the town hall basement. The air down here so thick with dust, it sticks in my throat. It's 5:15 a.m., and the world above is still dark. Snow piling up like it's trying to bury Crescent Valley for good. Donna's words are clawing at me. "It's got you now, and I can't sit still." My flashlight sweeps over the file cabinets, their rusted edges glinting like teeth. I'm not looking for more newspaper clippings. I need something solid, something that explains why my great-uncle's face is staring at me from a 1987 photo, why Tommy's voice is on the radio, why that hatch in the woods felt alive. I shove aside a stack of moldy boxes, and there it is, a rolled-up blueprint, tucked behind a broken chair like someone meant to hide it. I spread it out on a wobbly table, the paper crackling under my hands. It's a design of the old sheriff's station, dated 1965. All sharp lines and faded ink. The layout's familiar holding cells. Dispatch room. Armory, but there's something else. Something that makes my stomach lurch. A tunnel, marked in red, running from the station's basement to the cemetery behind St. Mary's Church. It's not on any modern maps, not in any records I've ever seen. The ink's too bright, like someone's been retracing it, keeping it alive. I trace the tunnel's path with my finger, my mind racing. The cemetery's old, older than the town, full of weathered headstones for loggers and miners who never made it out of the Bitterroots. Why would the station need a tunnel to a graveyard? The blueprint doesn't say, But there's a note scrawled in the corner, in the same shaky handwriting I saw in the incident files. Keep it sealed. It listens. My flashlight flickers, and for a second, I swear the shadows move, curling like smoke around the edges of the room. I stuff the blueprint into my jacket and head for the stairs, my boots echoing too loud in the silence. The badge from the woods is still in my pocket, heavy as a stone. I don't know what's down that tunnel, but I'm starting to think it's not just ghosts I'm dealing with. It's something older, something that knows my name. I need to see the old station again, not just the ruins, the basement. If that tunnel's real, it's still there, under the snow and ash, and I'm done running from it. The sun's barely up, a weak gray smear behind the clouds. As I pull the cruiser off the logging road, the old station site is a mile out of town, hidden in a clearing where the pines grow thick. Snow's drifted over the ruins, but I can still make out the outline crumbled bricks, a snapped antenna pole, and a few charred beams sticking up like broken bones. The tire tracks from last night are gone, buried under fresh powder, but the hatch is still there, its rusted edges peeking through the snow. I grab my flashlight and a crowbar from the trunk, my breath fogging in the freezing air. The forest's too quiet. No birds, no wind, just the crunch of my boots as I approach the hatch. I kneel, brushing snow away, and my fingers graze the metal. It's warm again, like it's been waiting for me. I wedge the crowbar under the edge and pry it open, the hinges screaming like a wounded animal. A dark staircase spirals down, the steps made of cracked stone, untouched by the fire that supposedly gutted this place. I descend, the air growing warmer with every step, thick with the smell of damp earth and something metallic, like old blood. My flashlight beam bounces off the walls, catching cobwebs and rusted pipes. At the bottom, I find a room, a bunker, really untouched by time. There's a desk, a chair, a radio console that looks like it belongs in a museum. The chair's warm, like someone just stood up. My skin crawls, but I can't stop now. On the desk, there's a logbook, its leather cover cracked but intact. I open it, and my heart stops. The pages are filled with entries, all in the same tight handwriting mine. Deputy Kyle Mercer, checked in, 2:13 a.m., active. The date's from last night. I flip back, and it's the same, night after night. Going back years, entries I never wrote, shifts I never worked. The radio on the desk hums to life, static crackling like a fire. A voice cuts through, not Tommy's this time, but deeper, older, like it's speaking from the bottom of a well. Unit 8. You're late. I stumble back, the flashlight slipping from my hand. It hits the floor, the beam spinning wildly, and in the flickering light, I see it a shadow on the wall, too tall, too thin, with eyes that burn like embers. It's gone when I blink, but the radio's still humming, and my name's echoing in the dark. I'm standing in the bunker, my flashlight beam trembling on the logbook, like it's got a life of its own. The air down here is wrong, too warm, too heavy, like I'm breathing through a wet cloth. My name stares up at me from the page. Deputy Kyle Mercer, checked in. Euro 2:13 a.m., active. My handwriting, down to the way I loop my Ks, but I didn't write it. I couldn't have. The date's last night, and the night before, and every night for years. stretching back to before I was born. Pages and pages of me, checking in for a shift I never worked. In a station that's been ash for decades, I flip through the book, my fingers numb. There are other names: John Mercer, my great-uncle, listed over and over until 1987, when his entries stopped cold. Others, too: Hank Grayson, Jimmy Tate, deputies I've only heard about in whispers at the VFW hall. All of them marked active until the night of the fire. My chest tightens, and I slam the book shut, dust puffing into the air like smoke. The radio on the desk crackles, that same low hum from the cruiser. But now it's louder, angrier. Unit 8, you're late. It says again, the voice deep and hollow, like it's coming from the bottom of a mine shaft. I back away, my boots scraping the concrete, and the flashlight catches the walls covered in scratches. Not random, but words, names, dates. My name's there, carved deep, next to 002, 13 a.m. I grab the logbook, shoving it into my jacket next to the blueprint and that tarnished badge. I need to get out, to breathe air that doesn't taste like secrets. But as I turn for the stairs, the radio spits static, and the voice shifts, softer now, familiar. Kyle, don't leave me. It's Tommy, his voice cracking like it did that day in Missoula, blood bubbling on his lips. I freeze, my heart slamming against my ribs. The shadow from before is back, flickering in the corner of my eye. Too tall, too thin, its eyes like pinpricks of fire. I swing the flashlight, but it's gone, and the radio's still talking. Tommy's voice looping. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. I bolt for the stairs, the logbook heavy against my chest, and don't look back. I'm back in the cruiser, engine running, heater blasting, but I can't stop shaking. The logbook's on the passenger seat, its leather cover staring at me like an accusation. The snow's falling thicker now, burying the world outside, and the clock on the dashboard reads 6:47 a.m. Dawn should be breaking, but the sky's still dark. Like the sun's given up on Crescent Valley. I try to focus, to piece it together: the hatch, the bunker, the logbook, Tommy's voice, but my head's a mess. I keep hearing that radio, even now, with the cruiser's system off. It's in my bones, a low hum that won't quit. I pull the logbook onto my lap, flipping to the last page again. My name, my handwriting, my life, written out like I've been here before. The radio crackles to life without me touching it. Not Tommy this time, but a chorus of voices, overlapping, desperate. Unit 8, respond. Fire's spreading. We're trapped. Screams tear through the static, the sound of wood splintering, glass shattering, flames roaring like a freight train. I know that sound. It's the bank robbery. The moment the shooting started, but it's mixed with something older, something from 1987. John, get out, a voice shouts, and my stomach drops. John Mercer, my great-uncle, burning in that basement. I slam my fist on the dashboard, trying to shut it up. But the voices keep coming. Kyle, help us. They plead, and it's not just Tommy or John, now it's others. Names from the logbook. Deputies who've been gone for decades. The static swells, and I hear it again. That deep voice from the bunker, cutting through the chaos. Unit 8. You're late. I throw the cruiser into gear, tires spinning in the snow, and peel out of the clearing. The radio's still going, even unplugged, and the voices are louder, angrier, like they're clawing their way out of the speakers. I glance in the rearview mirror, and for a split second, I see them shadows in the back seat, their faces blurred but familiar, their badges glinting in the dark. I swerve, nearly hitting a tree, and the shadows vanish. The radio goes quiet, but my hands are shaking so bad I can barely hold the wheel. I need answers, and I'm not waiting for 2:13 a.m. to get them. There's a locked room in the town hall, sealed since the fire. If there's anything left to find, it's there. I haven't slept in days. Not really. The kind of sleep where you close your eyes and see nothing but static, hear nothing but whispers. I'm back at the station, the new one, sitting in the break room with its chipped formica table and a coffee machine that gurgles like it's dying. It's 7:30 a.m., and the snow's still falling outside, a relentless white shroud over Crescent Valley. The logbook, blueprint, and that tarnished badge are stuffed in my locker, but they feel like they're burning a hole through the metal. I splash cold water on my face in the bathroom, hoping it'll snap me out of this fog. The mirror's old, cracked at the edges, and the fluorescent light buzzes like a trapped fly. I look up, and for a second, I don't recognize myself. My reflection's wearing the old uniform wool, not polyester, with a badge that matches the one in my pocket. The name tag reads J. Mercer, my great uncle, staring back at me with my own eyes. I blink, hard, and it's gone. Just me again, bags under my eyes, stubble creeping across my jaw. But my hands are shaking as I grip the sink, and I can't shake the feeling that something's wrong with me, like I'm slipping out of my own skin. The radio in the main room crackles, even though it's off, and I hear it, Tommy's voice, faint, like he's shouting from miles away. Kyle, don't leave me! I stumble out of the bathroom, my heart pounding. The station's empty, but it doesn't feel empty. The air's heavy, like someone's standing just out of sight. I check my watch, 8:02 a.m. No calls, no reports, just the hum of the heater and that damn radio, whispering even when it's unplugged. I've been telling myself it's the PTSD, the stress, the long nights, but I know better now. Whatever's in that bunker, whatever's calling me, it's not just in my head, it's rewriting me, piece by piece. I grab my coat and head for the town hall. There's a locked room in the basement, sealed since the fire, and I'm done waiting for answers. If I'm losing my mind, I need to know why. If I'm not, then something's been waiting for me down there, and it's tired of waiting. The town hall basement is colder than it should be, the kind of cold that sinks into your bones and stays there. It's midday now, but you wouldn't know it from the gray light filtering through the high windows. I'm surrounded by file cabinets, their drawers groaning as I yank them open. The logbook and blueprint are spread out on a table. But I'm looking for something else now, missing persons files. Anything to make sense of the names in that bunker. I start with the oldest records, from the 70s, working my way up. The pattern hits me like a punch to the gut. Every year, on the first snow, a deputy goes missing. Always the night shift. Always at 2:13 a.m. Hank Grayson, 1979. Jimmy Tate, 1983. John Mercer, 1987. A dozen others. Names I've heard in passing at the diner or the bar. Faces I've seen in old photos on the station's memorial wall. All of them gone. No bodies. No explanations. Just missing. Presumed dead stamped in red ink. I pull their photos. Grainy Polaroids and faded prints. And my breath catches. Some of them look like me, not exactly, but close enough to make my skin crawl. Same jaw. Same eyes. Like we're all cut from the same cloth. John Mercer's file is the thickest, stuffed with reports about erratic behavior before the fire. He'd been hearing voices, too. Logging calls to Holloway and Maine that no one else heard. The last entry, dated the night of the fire, just says, subject detained, transfer failed. I cross-reference the dates with weather logs. Every disappearance lines up with the first heavy snowfall. When the town gets cut off from the world, I check my own logbook from last night, my name, my handwriting. 13 a.m. My stomach twists, and I shove the files back, papers spilling across the floor. The radio in my pocket crackles, even though it's not hooked up. Unit 8. It says, in that deep, hollow voice from the bunker, "You're late." I rip the battery out, but the static keeps going, louder, until it's ringing in my ears. I grab the files and stumble for the stairs, my flashlight beam jerking wildly. The shadows seem to move, stretching toward me, and I swear I see a figure at the edge of the light, tall, thin, with eyes like burning coals. I don't stop to look. I'm done playing games with this thing. That locked room's my next stop, and I'm breaking it open, no matter what it takes. The town hall basement feels like a tomb, the air stale and heavy, pressing against my chest. It's late afternoon, the gray light from the high windows barely reaching the floor. I'm standing in front of the locked room, a steel door marked storage in faded paint, sealed with a padlock that looks older than I am. The files, the logbook, the blueprint, they're all in my duffel bag, slung over my shoulder. But they're not enough. Whatever's behind this door is the key to why my name's in that bunker, why deputies keep vanishing, why Tommy's voice won't leave me alone. I pull the crowbar from my belt, the same one I used at the old station, and wedge it into the lock. The metal groans, then snaps with a sound like a gunshot, echoing in the silence. I push the door open, and a wave of cold air hits me, carrying the smell of damp concrete and something sharp, like ozone after a lightning strike. My flashlight beam cuts through the dark, revealing shelves packed with boxes, their labels smudged by time. I start digging, pulling files marked confidential. 1987. Most are empty, pages torn out. But one folder, buried at the bottom, stops me cold. It's labeled Prisoner X. Old Station, 1987. Inside, there's no photo, no name, just a single report, typed on a typewriter that left uneven letters. It describes a subject detained in the station's basement, non-human, non-responsive, exhibiting anomalous behavior. The words make my skin crawl. They tried to move it the night of the fire, but transfer failed due to containment breach. The last line, underlined in red ink, reads, "Entity remains active. Do not engage." I flip through the rest, finding a sketch clipped to the back, a tall, thin figure with no face, just a void where its eyes should be. surrounded by radio waves drawn in jagged lines. My hands shake as I shove the file into my bag. The room feels smaller now, the shadows thicker, like they're pressing in. I hear it again. Static, faint but growing, coming from nowhere and everywhere. My radio's in the bag, battery out, but it's humming my name. Kyle, Unit 8. I bolt for the door, my boots slipping on the concrete. The crowbar's still in my hand, and I grip it like a lifeline. Whatever they locked up in that station, it's not gone. It's still here, and it's calling me. I'm back in the cruiser, driving through town. The snow falling so thick, it's like the world's trying to erase itself. The duffel bag's on the passenger seat, stuffed with the files, the logbook, the blueprint, and that damn sketch. My head's spinning, trying to make sense of it. A non-human prisoner, a containment breach, my great-uncle's name carved into a bunker wall. I need to end this, to break whatever's tying me to that station. I pull over at the edge of town, near the old logging road, and grab the radio from my bag. If the signal's coming from the bunker, maybe I can kill it there. I plug the battery back in, and the static roars to life, louder than ever, like a storm trapped in the speaker. I smash the radio against the dashboard, plastic cracking, wires spilling out, but the sound doesn't stop. It's everywhere now, blaring from the cruiser's speakers, the diner's jukebox down the street, even my phone, vibrating in my pocket with the same static hiss. Unit 8. You're late, the deep voice says, cutting through the noise. It's not Tommy or John anymore. It's something else, something that makes my bones ache. I throw the radio out the window, into the snow, but it keeps going, the voice echoing from every car on Main Street, every speaker in town. I check my phone. My name's in the call log, listed as Unit 8, active, old station. I drive to the ruins, the cruiser skidding on ice. The hatch is still there, open, snow drifting into the dark. I grab my flashlight and crowbar, my breath ragged. I'm going back down, to find the source, to make it stop. But as I step out, the radio in the cruiser flares again, and Tommy's voice breaks through, desperate. Kyle, don't go down there. It's not us. I freeze, 1 foot in the snow. The static swells, and the deep voice returns, colder now. You can't leave. Kyle, you're one of us. My name's in the logbook, in the files, in the air itself. I look back at the cruiser, and the dashboard clock reads 2:13 a.m. Impossible. It's barely noon. The snow's falling faster, and the hatch is waiting, its warmth pulsing like a heartbeat. I'm driving into the forest, the cruiser's headlights cutting through the snow like a knife through fog. The clock's stuck at 2:13 a.m. Even though it's barely past noon, the world outside is gone, swallowed by the blizzard, and the only sound is the crunch of tires and the static humming in my head. The duffel bag's on the passenger seat, stuffed with the logbook, the blueprint, the files, and that sketch of the faceless thing. I've got my Glock, my crowbar, and a flashlight, but they feel useless against whatever's waiting at the old station. I'm done running. The voices, the tracks, my name carved into that bunker, they're all leading me here. To the ruins, to that hatch. I tried to break the radio, to stop the signal, but it's bigger than me, bigger than Crescent Valley. It's in the air, in the snow, in my blood. Donna's words keep echoing. It's got you now. Maybe she's right. But if I'm going down, I'm taking it with me. The cruiser lurches to a stop at the clearing, the engine coughing like it's choking. The hatch is there, open, snow swirling into the dark like it's being sucked down a drain. The radio crackles, unplugged but alive, and Tommy's voice breaks through, raw and desperate. Kyle, don't go down there. It's not us. But then that other voice, the deep one, cuts in. Cold as the grave. Unit 8. Officer down. Backup needed. Kyle, come back inside. My hands shake as I grab the crowbar and flashlight. The Glock heavy on my hip. The snow's so thick I can barely see the ruins. But the hatch glows, its warmth pulsing like a heartbeat. I step toward it, the static growing louder. A chorus of voices now: Tommy, John Mercer, deputies I've never met, all screaming, pleading, burning. Help us. Kyle, they say, and I feel it, a pull, like the bunkers calling my name. I stand at the edge of the hatch, staring into the dark. The crowbar's slick with sweat in my hand. I don't know what's down there, Prisoner X. A ghost, or something worse. But I'm done being its pawn. I take a breath, the cold burning my lungs, and step onto the stairs. The dark swallows me whole, and the hatch slams shut behind me. The morning after Kyle Mercer disappeared, the snow stopped falling in Crescent Valley for the first time in days. A search party found his cruiser at the edge of the old station's ruins. Its door open, the engine cold. The headlights were still on, their beams cutting through the dawn mist, illuminating nothing but fresh powder. Inside, the radio was looping, a faint crackle spitting out the same message. Unit 8. Respond. Unit 8. Officer down. No one could turn it off, not even when they yanked the battery. His badge was found in the snow, half buried near the hatch, its tarnished surface catching the weak sunlight. The hatch itself was sealed, rusted shut, as if it hadn't been opened in decades. No tracks led away from the cruiser, no sign of a struggle, just the duffel bag on the passenger seat, stuffed with files, a blueprint, and a logbook no one dared open. The searchers locals, mostly, who knew the stories didn't linger. They marked the site and left, their faces pale, their whispers hushed. By noon, the sheriff's department filed a missing persons report, though no one expected to find Kyle. Crescent Valley had seen this before, deputies vanishing on the first snow, their names added to the memorial wall with no explanation. The files were sealed, the case closed, just like 1987. Just like every year, the snow came early. The town went quiet, the diner's jukebox silent, the radio signals clear for the first time in weeks. But the stories didn't stop. Kids at the high school whispered about lights in the woods, about voices on dead channels at 2:13 a.m. Old-timers at McGinty's bar swore they saw Kyle's cruiser on the logging road some nights, its lights flashing, its radio calling for backup that never came. The logbook, locked in the evidence room, was said to have new entries, written in Kyle's hand, though no one checked. No one wanted to know. Crescent Valley buried its secrets, like always, under snow and silence. But the old station was still out there, waiting, its hatch warm under the frost, its signal humming in the dark. And somewhere, deep below, Kyle Mercer was still on shift. I'm sitting at my desk in the sheriff's office, the new one, with its flickering fluorescence and coffee-stained linoleum. It's been a week since Kyle Mercer vanished, and Crescent Valley's trying to move on, like it always does. I'm the new sheriff, Ed Harlan, promoted after Kyle's cruiser was found abandoned at the old station's ruins. The reports in front of me, typed up for the state police. Deputy Kyle Mercer, missing, presumed dead. November 23rd, 2025. No body, no answers. Just like the others, John Mercer, Hank Grayson, Jimmy Tate, all those names on the memorial wall. I signed the form, my pen scratching louder than it should in the empty room. The town's quiet again. Too quiet. The snow's stopped, but the air's still heavy, like it's holding its breath. I've heard the stories everyone has. The old station fire, the voices on the radio, the deputies who disappear when the first snow falls. I thought they were just small-town ghost stories, something to scare kids at the diner or drunks at McGinty's. But Kyle's badge, found in the snow, sits on my desk now, next to the sealed evidence bag with his duffel files. A blueprint, a logbook no one's opened. I'm not sure I want to. I lean back in my chair, the springs creaking, and start recording my final notes for the state. This is Sheriff Ed Harlan, Crescent Valley Sheriff's Department, closing the Mercer case. No new leads. Search concluded due to weather and lack of evidence. My voice sounds hollow, even to me. I hit stop on the recorder, and the silence feels wrong, like the room's waiting for something. Then it comes, a crackle, sharp and sudden, from the radio on the shelf. It's unplugged. I checked it myself this morning, but the static's alive, buzzing like a swarm of flies. A voice cuts through, low and gravelly, like it's been buried for years. Unit 7, respond to Holloway and Maine. My heart stops. Holloway and Maine hasn't existed since the fire. I stare at the radio, its dials dark, its cord dangling uselessly. The voice comes again, slower, colder. Unit 7, this is dispatch. Respond. Harlan. My name. It knows my name. I grab the recorder, my hands shaking, and hit record again. But the static's in my head now, drowning out everything. The logbook's on my desk, its cover cracked open, and there, in fresh ink, is my name, Sheriff Ed Harlan, checked in. 2:13 a.m. Active. The radio hums, and the voice whispers, "You're late."